Welcome back to the lunch table, food for thought. I'm Nico Blitz. Make sure you hit that subscribe button at the bottom left-hand corner. We're also on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, YouTube, and the beloved iHeartRadio app. Shout out to my workplace one time. And also shout out to this guy too, De La Music. He has exposed me to a lot of dope people in the music industry, and that includes my next guest. Now, normally I don't do this, but my next guest has a whole ass list of accolades. So if you're watching this, you will see I'm holding my notebook because I just want to make sure I don't fuck this up. So currently, she's written around 600 songs. She's a singer-songwriter. She has a pub deal with Ester and Prescription from Dr. Luke. Let me go down through her placements. One, she has one of her songs featured on Taylor Swift's Favorite Songs playlist. She has a song on the Ugly Dolls movie. She has a song on Empire. Shout out to Jussie Smollett. She has the theme song for Awesomeness TV's original series Guidance. And she has music used to empower, support, and spread awareness for places like Stand Up to Cancer, Autism Care and Treatment, Firefly Autism, and Girls Rock Santa Barbara, all at the age of 19. Now, when Della put me in his car one time, he played this song called Hurt by You, and then the hook went, I'd rather be hurt by you than to be loved by somebody else, and it just hit me in a way where I was like, yo, I felt that so much. So shout out to my next guest. She goes by the name of Sophie Rose.
Thank you so much for having me. What an introduction.
Yo, that was probably the longest introduction that I've done for anybody. So I hope you feel special.
Thank you. I do, definitely.
So Sophie, you've accomplished so much at just 19 years old.
Thank you.
I mean, do you feel like it's been a lot, or do you feel like you can do a lot more?
Kind of both. I feel like as an artist and as a writer, I go through this, and all of my friends go through this, where we feel like we're just like never satisfied and nothing's ever enough. But at the same time, it's really nice to like take a step back and like look at everything that I have accomplished so far. But I definitely have a long way to go in my own mind.
Well, at what age did you start?
Well, I've been singing my whole life, and I started writing when I was about 9, and I started producing when I was around 14, so I've been doing it a while.
Producing too? How'd you get into producing?
Well, it started by, I was going to a lot of songwriters expos, and I was learning a lot about sync and, film, TV licensing and all that, and I wanted to be able to do stuff on spec where people were like, we need a song for this commercial, like, by the end of the day. Like, I wanted to be able to do that myself and not have to rely on people. And also, I was starting to get into sessions with producers, and a lot of the time, like, producers would take forever to send a demo, or it would just be, like, a hassle just trying to get stuff going. So I just wanted to be able to have the option to either just, like, make my own guitar vocals or just do stuff for film, TV, and do everything myself and not have to, like, rely on other people.
Well, I feel like your generation is a lot more efficient with trying to do everything at once, because I want to say it was because of J. Cole and also Russ too in the music industry, who just decided, yo, I'm going to be the rapper, I'm going to be the producer, I'm going to be the engineer, I'm going to do everything, because in a sense, not everybody's going to do anything for you. So you kind of have to like put that on your back.
Yeah, I have noticed a lot with like, I go to a lot of songwriters expos, and I was recently at the Hawaii Songwriting Festival as a mentor, and I noticed that a lot of younger writers want to be producers as well, more than like, older generations. I feel like the kids are way more interested in like the technology, especially like young girls. A lot of my friends, even who are in their like late 20s, who are girls, like don't want to produce. Like they have no interest in it. They don't want to like learn the technology, which to me seems crazy. But then I go to these expos and I see that like young kids, like 10, 12 years old, want to start producing more than like the 25-year-old girls that go to these things.
That's insane, because I vividly remember a video where it's Swizz Beatz and Alicia Keys, and they have their kid just on a drum pad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's such a cheat code, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just like the generation, like there's so much technology now that kids who are growing up with all this technology feel like more inclined to produce, which I think is awesome. I think it's great, especially like young females. I think it's great you know, that they want to start producing. So
Well, also it also fathoms me that women of like in their mid-20 range don't want to produce too much because I don't see too many female producers in the industry.
right. And I don't know why. I think like some of my friends think, or not even my friends, just girls I talk to,
Uh-huh.
think that it would be, you know, too hard to learn it. But then others just don't want to. They're like, I have no, you know, I don't have any desire to do anything technological, like on the production side. Like they
Yeah.
love writing, they love singing, but they're like, I don't want to use, you know, have to learn these programs. Like I'm not inclined to do that. So,
But I mean, even production shouldn't be limited to just a program or, you know, just a keyboard that has hella instruments in it. Like production goes down to even being able to use a drum or being able to use an actual piano or
Yeah.
being able to use a guitar.
I think when I say like production, I'm thinking more of like the programming
Like
aspect
MIDI
of it.
and all that.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think because I have a lot of friends who, you know, they play instruments, but they just don't know how to actually like produce on a laptop or like make a final, you know, MP3
Got
bounce
you.
of it. So yeah, I think that's more of like what scares people from doing it is having to learn like the computer and like the technology more than like an instrument.
So for yourself, did you start off using MIDI tools or were you using actual instruments?
It's weird for myself. I think it shaped my sound a lot as an artist because I play guitar and piano like roughly. Like
Oh,
I
wow.
can play live on guitar. I can't play piano live. But like I learned piano chords basically to write to. But I always have a really hard time recording my own live guitar because I can never stay like on the beat, like on the click when I'm recording
Got
it.
you.
So I started out using a lot of MIDI and like keyboard controlled like instruments. And because of that, a lot of my songs are mostly like synth based. And then I have live instruments in it. But I think if I had been a better guitar player, maybe, you know, my songs would be more acoustic leaning than they
Yeah.
are now. So I started out using mostly like MIDI
Well, when I do
instruments.
listen to your music, it seems like you have a couple more acoustic records.
Yeah.
And I think your voice very much complements that because
Thank you.
your voice is very. I didn't know how to describe it earlier in my head. I was like, how do I describe her voice? And I was like, you just have a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
And to hear it over, you know, songs like Hurt by You, I'm just like, wow, this dynamic that she has, you can't create this overnight.
Thank you.
This is something that you must have been doing for a minute now. And
Yeah.
so you said it was like, what, 9 years old when you
Yeah,
started?
I think also writing because I signed my publishing deal when I was 14, and I started like mostly focusing on writing for other people, and I think that helped develop my voice a lot too. Just like being in sessions and singing demos and singing like different styles that weren't
Yeah.
necessarily my own. But yeah, I've been writing since I was 9. But I'd say like I really started writing when I was like 13, 14, when I was like
Yeah.
in sessions and actually like doing it. You know.
So who were you writing for at that time when you were 13 years old?
I don't know. I was like, I don't think I had anyone in mind. I was just writing for pitch, basically, in
Got you.
sessions, because I was focused on doing like what Julia Michaels has done, where I was thinking, I'll write and I'll get hits with other people and use that as my launching pad for my artist project, because, you know, I wasn't on a Disney show. I wasn't like a YouTuber or an influencer or anything. So I needed some sort of platform. And that was like my plan when I signed my publishing deal. Like my plan was to write for other people in order to use that to launch my artist project, because I
Got
loved
you.
writing and that was like my favorite thing to do. But I didn't know who I was as an artist yet, so that's what made the
Yeah.
most sense to me. So that's kind of what I did, but that's not what ended up like really happening in the end. But yeah, so that was my goal.
So then you're no longer. Are you still writing right now?
Yeah, I'm constantly writing because writing is like my favorite. It's like what brings me the most joy of anything, and just like finishing something I'm really proud of, either it be like writing or like finishing a production or anything. Just the creative part of being an artist is like the best.
Yeah.
So I'm either like, now I'm kind of balancing my time between like writing for other people and writing for myself. Whereas before I was kind of always writing for other people, and then if I wrote something for me, I would keep it. Now I'm trying to like actually like section it, because
Yeah.
I can't do both at once anymore.
Yeah, because
it's too
I've
demanding.
had a conversation with Satika. She's signed to Transparent Agency, and she's kind of on the same boat as you, where she finds herself writing for other people and also writing her own music. So How do you find a balance between, well, this song is for other people, and then this song is personally for my own stuff?
It's really hard. I recently went on tour, and I was on tour for a month, and I didn't write anything during that time.
Was it your own tour?
I was supporting Nina Nesbitt.
Tight.
So that was like my first tour ever, and it was the best experience ever. And I'd say like touring, I didn't know how fun it was gonna be. I think that and the creative side of like writing and recording music are now like almost equally like fulfilling to me.
Yeah.
Because like seeing people actually react to my songs like in real life is like amazing. But back to the point. So I was like, I was on tour, and when I got back, I had just released an EP like right after. And then I was like, okay, cool, I want to write like my next project or just the next songs I want to put out. So the EP I just released, I did completely by myself. I wrote and produced every song alone. So that took forever. So I was like, this next one I want to like, get songs out. So
how long did it take for you to finish the EP?
Well, it was weird because like I said, I was like writing for others and then like picking songs for myself in between. So the first single I released from it was my first single ever, Two Young Lovers, and I did that. And I released it in October of 2017, and this EP came out in April of 2019. It's 5 songs.
Damn.
But I wasn't, like, spending... Like, so I did Two Young Lovers, but then the next single from that EP didn't come out until December of 2018. And I'd released a couple other random songs in between that I didn't end up putting on the EP. But it wasn't until, like, December 2018, basically, that I started, like, really focusing on finishing that project. Because I'm like, I need to have, like... a project out. I can't keep like writing for other people and then releasing my own song every 4 months, So it's like
it's unfair to you.
Yeah, and like it took me a while to actually believe in myself enough. Like I always believed in myself as an artist, but it was a struggle for a long time being signed to a publisher and like not writing for other people because I was like I should be writing for other people because it's like more of an opportunity for me as a writer than writing for myself. And it wasn't until I started getting recognition from my own artist songs that I really like made this switch to like say, okay, I have to focus on myself because like I'm actually getting a lot of reaction and this is what makes me happier than like writing for pitch and having songs sitting on my computer.
What was the song that triggered the switch?
Two Young Lovers was because like I released it and then Taylor Swift put it on her favorite songs playlist and that was like the like most recognition I could ever ask for because she's like my idol. She was why I started writing my own songs when I was 9. Like that was like absolutely incredible.
So I gotta ask you this: what's your favorite Taylor Swift album?
Oh my god!
Because I
Fearless is definitely my favorite Taylor Swift album.
Which one?
Fearless.
Okay.
That was like the first album I heard, and then I went back and listened to her debut album.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely my favorite.
Mine is Red.
Yeah. I like Red a lot, too. I like all of them. I have, like, favorite songs from... I think my favorite Taylor Swift song is Dear John, which I think is on Speak Now.
Okay.
But
I don't think I've heard that
as an
one.
overall album, I have to say Fearless because it was,
you.
like, personally, like, my introduction to Taylor Swift, so it's, like, means the most to me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So then your song gets featured on Taylor Swift's playlist.
Yeah.
And that kind of triggers you to be like, okay, well, I really can make a career out of my own music.
Yeah, which was always my plan. So, but I think in my mind, like I was saying before, I was planning on like getting cuts with other people as my launching pad. Mm-hmm. So I think that has always been like still in my mind. So I was like, let me keep writing for other people, and once I get a big cut, then I can like focus on myself. So that's why it was hard for me to like, while I was still kind of trying to do that, like switch and focus on myself. So after Taylor Swift put that song on her playlist, I really like changed my mindset, and then Best Friend came out in December, and I'd written that like June of last year, so that was like I guess 6 months after Taylor Swift's playlist came out. So after I wrote Best Friend, I put that out with an indie distributor in London called 45, and they did like an amazing job with it, and it got on like 18 Music Fridays around the world.
Damn.
And that was like another like really reassuring thing. So then when that came out, I had just like been working on Hurt by You, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna like finish Hurt by You and then finish like 3 more songs or 2 more songs, I guess at that point. 3? I don't remember.
2?
Whatever.
I think you've
Okay,
you mentioned 3
Lovers,
off the EP.
Best Friend, Hurt by You. Yeah, 2 more songs
2 more.
after those 3. So for the next few months after Best Friend came out, last December, I was like, okay, I'm gonna finish this EP, and that's all I did for like I did like some writing sessions in between, but my main focus was just finishing this EP because I wanted it to be released in April. So around the time in February, I got offered the Nina tour, and all the songs were like basically done. I had to finish like the last 2 right before the tour, but all I was doing for the first like few months of this year was working on my artist project. And then I did this tour, and after I came back, I wanted to go back into sessions thinking like, okay, I'll keep some of these songs for me and pitch the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in sessions the last few months, and I just felt like none of the songs, like I love a lot of the songs that I was writing, but I felt like none of them were as authentic to me as an artist as the EP I just did. So then after a couple months of doing a lot of sessions, I went back to saying like, okay, I need to just block out the next couple months to like work on my own project, which I've never like consciously done before, because I never wanted to take myself out of like writing for other people. I was just like doing what I was talking about, just like writing for other people and picking like a couple songs in between to release for myself. But I'm like, if I really want to keep the momentum going and like put out projects consistently, I need to actually split my time between doing sessions for others and sessions for myself, or like writing for myself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
So was it weird for you to kind of purge out writing for other people for a 5-month period, because you get so used to?
I didn't actually do it that way. After, are you talking about like after the Taylor Swift playlist?
Yeah.
No, so what happened, I was still writing for other people. At that point, I was still like writing for other people, but I was still like thinking of my artist project as like, you know, something that was like happening, but I still wasn't like fully focused on it at that point. It took me until like, I guess like last like October, November to really only focus on that for the next like few months. But
Got you.
yeah, it was weird. I just like, when I set deadlines for myself, that's when it's like I have to do it. So I'm like, I want an EP out like early 2019, so I have to focus on myself to get it done in time. That's kind of what the mindset was.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't have like that self-induced deadline, I probably wouldn't have like taken myself out of writing for others.
Well, the deadlines also, I don't like it when artists feel like they have to rush to get a project out. I'm not saying that that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
But when you set a deadline for yourself, you kind of, you're setting like a standard.
Yeah. It's more like for me, like if I haven't done that many like project deadlines. Like that was probably my first where I was like, I really want to get this out. But at the same time, if I hadn't written the songs and had them like perfect, like for my own like standards, if they weren't like good enough by that time, I wouldn't have done it, you know? If I didn't have the songs yet, I would have pushed it back. So
I'm listening to some of your music, and it's rare that something actually evokes a particular feeling and makes me want to be like, wow, I actually felt that. And I find that when that occurs, usually the songwriter or the artist pulls from a personal situation that they've gone through. Please tell me that's what you do.
Yes, I try. That's what's hard for me sometimes, because I don't like, most of my time is spent like working on music. But I feel like my best songs come out of when I'm like writing from an emotional, like real place. And like all the songs in my EP were that. And that's what I'm like trying to get back to now, is just like finding like real inspiration. Because I feel like that's the struggle with doing like writing sessions, is like most writing sessions, if you're writing 4 or 5 days a week, you can't like do like 100% like real emotional songs that much. Like that's like impossible unless you like have like so many crazy wild experiences on the weekends to like write from, you know? And I don't, like I never go out, I don't do anything. So like I'm always writing and I'm always in the studio. So I have to also just make time to like live my life so that I have stuff to write about. And as a songwriter, it's easy to like, you know, make things up and like create something that's emotional from like no personal place to pitch to somebody, because then an artist can come in and like make it their own and make it like real for them. But for my own project, I feel like I can't sing something that doesn't like mean something to me.
You know, having this conversation, I'm kind of getting the idea that sometimes, and you can definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but like I feel now sometimes like a songwriter kind of has to be an actor.
Yeah,
in a sense.
100%. So and that's great, and I love writing with artists and being able to interpret their emotions and tell their story like with them, because then it's like you are really getting somewhere with that. it's hard as a songwriter sometimes, like writing for pitch and like trying to think about, especially if you're writing like for a specific artist, trying to get in their mind without them actually being there, and like writing based off like a pitch sheet or something and just trying to write their story.
God.
Like that's really, really hard for me because I find like the songs like Hurt by You, for example, I wrote that so quickly because it was like really personal and it was something I had to say. So it's challenging, but also it's good to do this as a writer, to like get better and be more creative and more like in your own imagination, to have to like create a story that you're not actually feeling. But I find that those songs aren't like my best songs because I don't know, those are harder for me to write.
Well, yeah, I've heard that the best songs from artists come out in maybe like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I found that that's like my favorites, but that doesn't happen like very often,
No,
you know?
no.
So that's what's hard.
Well, because then you have that competition of everybody trying to just willingly crank out songs in 5 minutes, and then there's like that whole divide in the music industry where you have people microwaving songs, and then you have people who actually can pull from an emotion at that given time. And then a 5-minute song when it's microwavable versus a 5-minute song when you're actually pulling from emotion are two totally different things.
100%.
Yeah. So, did you get any placements as a songwriter for other people yet, or not yet?
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff that you were saying in your intro, like I did a song for the Ugly Dolls movie soundtrack that came out, and Anita sang it in 3 different languages. And I wrote that song with Sizzy Rocket and Jason D'Souza. I actually opened for Sizzy last night at the Moroccan Lounge, and that was really cool.
Oh, tight.
Because we met in that writing session. That was like the first time we ever met. And we wrote that song, and then it just came out like 2 years later on the soundtrack, and the Monsters and Strangers like reproduced it, and it sounds like amazing. So
it was like,
but
it was completely different from what you guys had originally created.
Well, no, it actually wasn't. Like I was really happy with the final production because they took like what the demo was, like they kept the same like emotion and just made it more theatrical and made it like, you know, what the, I don't know who, like the movie or like the sound, the label, whoever like wanted it to be on that soundtrack, but they kept like the integrity of the song, which was like amazing. So I was really, really happy with how it turned out. But that was a session where we went into it, and like the song is more of like a statement song. It's not like a personal like romantic love song. It's more of just like, I don't know. I love the song, but we all knew it was special in the session, even though it wasn't like personal, you know, extremely personal to any of us. So we were all like really happy that it ended up where it did. So that was a recent placement that I had. And then like, I had a song come out on Empire with Soraya. And I've had like a bunch of random stuff. I do a lot with DJs, either like if I'm the feature or if someone else is the feature. I've been working a lot with these guys, Adam and Steve, that are doing really great. And we just had songs out with like Nash and Water Parks. And then I did a song on their project. And we have another coming out this month. I don't think I can talk about it yet.
That's all good.
But yeah, so like a lot with them. I had a song on Mackenzie Ziegler's last album, and she was on the show Dance Moms, and she's like an incredible dancer and artist, and just like, yeah, so just a bunch of cool stuff.
How are you getting placements?
It comes differently every time. Like Prescription and Ester help me, you know, on the pitching side. I'm signed to them for publishing, so that's like part of their job. Esther helped get the Ugly Dolls placement, which was incredible. But then a lot of the time, you know, I do things myself and I like meet people and it just like leads to things. I think that's like everybody's story, you know, as like a writer, it's just like kind of comes in all different ways.
What's been one of the coolest things that, you know, going back to that topic, like what's been like one of the coolest things to you where you kind of just did something and it didn't even go the way you wanted to, but it went like in a greater way?
I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think about that. I think the Ugly Dolls movie was definitely one of those moments. I also had a song. My first release as an artist was with a DJ called Sam F., who's half of the Adam and Steve duo now.
Okay.
But it was with him, and it was called Limitless. And that did, like, incredibly well. And it ended up being like my launching pad for my artist project, because then off of that I did like other songs with him and other DJs, and then I ended up releasing Two Young Lovers. But that song I wrote with Lindsay Saunders and Marone Ryan, who are incredible writers and two of my close friends. And we wrote it just like the three of us, and I produced a demo, and we thought it was going to be a film TV pitch. And then I ended up meeting Sam's manager through a friend who's the DJ on the song now.
Gotcha.
So Sam was the DJ. I met his manager, and I sent him the acapella, and it was like, I think like 20 or 30 BPM slower than the version that's out now, and it was like this weird like Florence and the Machine type track that I built. But I just sent him the acapella, and he took that acapella, completely redid the chords, sped it up like 30 BPM, and it was just like a completely different song.
Yeah.
But obviously, it ended up doing like something completely different than we had originally thought it would, which was so cool, and I'm so happy. But like none of us, or at least I, would never have thought to do like what he did with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really cool. Like now comparing the two versions, it's like insane. So yeah, that was cool.
So it seems to me that you're always in the studio and always working with, I mean, you're working with hella artists.
Yeah.
A lot more that I feel like you can even name. Where do you find time to like have a social life?
It's crazy. I feel like that's a lot of the reason, honestly, why I don't focus on my artist project more, is because I think I do my best stuff for my project alone. And sessions are really fun. Like, I love being in writing sessions with other writers and producers. I feel like that's my favorite, like, social thing to do, because in a writing session, I feel like it's easier to talk about, like, real stuff than when you just, like, you know, go hang out with your friends or, like, go do, like, normal things, like go to the movies and stuff. I like having, like, deep conversations and, like, real-life conversations. And I feel like the most I get that from is writing sessions, because you have to get to those, like, real places to write good songs. So I enjoy doing sessions for that reason, and because you get to create something, you know, out of nothing. Like, that's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, I totally get you, because, I mean, hanging out with my friends back in the Bay Area, there's only a handful of particular moments where we get to those nitty-gritty, deep portions of our lives, and we share it with each other. So now that you mentioned that, like, I can only imagine being in a writing session where you're really trying to capture a feeling or capture a particular moment. I guess it becomes a lot easier for you to articulate yourself, because there's a purpose for it other than just, like, let me just vent out my feelings.
Yeah. And of course, like, when I have, you know, my friends over, or when I'm with, like, my close friends, I feel like that's the only other time that really happens. But even that, it's like everyone's busy, and it's hard to, like, schedule that stuff a lot of the time. And all my friends are songwriters, so, like, stuff comes up last minute, and it's just, like, I don't know, I feel like I never see them. So I feel like writing sessions, it's, like, you know, more reliable. It's like a work-related thing, so it's like people don't flake out as much as like when you're just like getting together for fun, you know? Which is like horrible. I feel like all of us in the music business, like we feel guilty for like, you know, not doing something work-related and like just like having time for ourselves.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it too. It's like all my friends are constantly in writing sessions. Like I texted my friend the other day, hey, like, what are you doing on July 4th? Like, come over. And she's like, oh, I have a session that day. It's like, that's crazy. But it's like, that's just like the way this business is. Like, everyone's constantly working. So, yeah.
It's funny that you say that, because literally just yesterday I was actually DMing another songwriter, and she was like, oh yeah, I can't do an interview next Tuesday. What other days can you do? I'm like, you know, I could do this Friday, which is July 5th. As of right now, it's July 5th. Or, you know, I can do this other day. She's like, let's do the other day. And I was like, why'd you want to do the other day? And I'm just like, wow, it didn't even dawn on me that it was 4th of July weekend. She might be out of here, you know? And it's crazy when you're actually in this industry. It's kind of like everything that doesn't pertain to the industry kind of ceases to exist for a little bit. Is that a little bit scary for you?
I don't know. Like, I try to find balance. I do have friends outside the music industry, which I'm so grateful for. But, like, one of my other close friends is currently home. She just graduated law school, but she's studying for the bar exam. So, like, even her, it's like I never hang out with her because she's constantly, like, busy. So, I don't know. I feel like everybody, especially in LA, I feel like everyone has just stuff that's going on, like, all the time. But, yeah, it's definitely made me, like, feel more comfortable, like, just being with myself, because I feel like when I do have time off, most of the time, like, none of my friends have time off. So it's like I'm just alone when I have free time a lot of the time. But, like, I don't mind that. And I feel like that's when I get my song inspiration for my artist project, is when I'm just alone and, like, alone with my own thoughts and my own ideas. So, yeah, I think it's cool. I don't know.
Well, because I mean, I kind of get in this mode whenever I'm alone is when I actually stop to think about myself and
Yeah,
like dive
sometimes
deep
it's
into
scary.
my
But
What's like the okay, so now that you said that,
yeah.
what's like the scariest thought that you've thought of
Oh my
while
God,
being
I
alone?
can't. I don't know. I don't know. I just think about like really like existential stuff. Like if I'm alone, I like being alone, but if I'm alone like too long, then I start
You
like
just go
overthinking.
crazy.
Yeah, because especially as like a writer or just like I think any creative person like overthinks a lot. And I'm definitely one of those people. I overthink like constantly, but if I'm distracting myself with like, being busy, like whatever it is, like writing sessions or just like running errands or whatever, I don't have time to like think about stuff.
Yeah.
But if I'm just like alone for a long period of time, I start to like go crazy with my thoughts.
So I'm like legitimately interested in this, but like what do you do when like let's say you have your alone time and you're not overthinking. Like what do you do when you're not doing music?
Oh, well, I like to cook a lot because it's one of those things where it's like you don't have time to like think about stuff and
Yeah.
you're just like I like those activities where you have to focus on something but it's not something that's like challenging really because it lets
Yeah.
you just like take a break, even if you're just like reading a book or something.
So what's your favorite thing to cook?
I like I'm really into making pasta from scratch. I
Ooh.
have like one of those KitchenAid attachments. I also like baking. Right now I'm really into like healthy food, so I've been like juicing.
Oh,
And stuff.
God.
I just do like, I like to do like new stuff. I like Pinterest. Like, I like, finding like weird recipes and stuff.
Have you gone like consecutive days just drinking juice?
No, I don't do that. I'm just saying, like, I'll make a juice and I'll drink it in the morning.
Okay.
Like, I'm not like, I don't do like, juice cleanses. That scares me.
I
I've
did
heard
a
those
ju-
are those good for you?
See, I did a juice cleanse once with my girlfriend, and I think it was just like a 2-day cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
I shit you not, the next morning after the cleanse, I felt like I took a shower. But it was on
Inside?
but it was like
Really?
an internal shower.
Maybe I'll try it sometime. I don't know.
I wouldn't suggest it for a long period of
Yeah.
time because I don't know how healthy that is, but just like 1 or 2 days, it'll get you feeling like
Yeah.
a brand new person.
That's crazy.
I swear.
Yeah, I don't know. I love food too much, I feel like, to do a juice cleanse. But
So for the record, you're not on like some random keto diet or anything?
No. I eat like everything. So, yeah, but I'm like, I think balance is good. So, but anyway, I like cooking. I like to hike. I really want to get into like doing like more, long hikes. Like I've been looking at, there's like an app called All Trails. I've been on that app because I live out in like the valley. So there's like a lot of hikes around me.
Yeah.
And I want to go try Topanga. I want to go to Malibu. Like I want to do all those. So, yeah, those are like my two favorite things.
I was just at Malibu, the Malibu Wine Safari with my girlfriend
Yeah.
this past weekend, and then our tour guide was telling us like, yeah, if you don't want to drink wine, there's also this Malibu hike.
Mm-hmm.
And I was scouting the area. I was like, oh hell nah. First of all, it's high up in the mountain. It's hella hot.
Yeah.
There's animals around.
You have
here.
to do it early. I just did a hike in Malibu with my friend the other day. And we had to go. We went at 9 a.m., but it was still like really hot, like 30 minutes in because the cloud cover burned off. But then it's also scary. We saw a rattlesnake.
Oh,
And we had
hell
to.
nah.
Okay, so like we saw a rattlesnake, and it was like, but it was a small one, which the babies are the most dangerous. But I think it wasn't a baby; it was like in between a baby and like an adult. But it was still small.
Wait, why are the babies most dangerous?
Because they don't know how to control their venom. So if they bite you, they release like all
it's like
of it.
immediate.
Yeah, like
wow.
the adults bite you and like only release a little bit, but the babies like don't know how yet. So they'll like.
Ooh.
Yeah, I live in an area where they're really like present, so I know a lot about them. But it was like covering like the trail was probably like this wide, maybe not like this wide, but it was covering like the middle of it. So we were like, how do we get around it? Because we were on our way back down, so we couldn't like turn around. So we waited for it to like go into a bush and like ran and jumped over it. And I was terrified, but I was like, what else are we gonna do? Stand here all day, you know? So yeah, I don't know. That's the downside. But
Hell
it was
nah,
fine.
dude. That's why I can't be hiking too much. I'm definitely not a nature person.
Yeah.
Every time somebody wants to camp, I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll pass.
I wouldn't go camping. That's a way like more extreme than like going on a hike, but I don't know.
What's like the most extreme thing that you've done?
I feel like I did my most extreme stuff when I was too young to like realize it.
Yeah.
I went to Costa Rica with my parents when I think I was 10 or 11, and we went like ziplining there.
That's
which
tight.
isn't like crazy. A lot of people do it, but like that was extreme. We also climbed the Sydney Harbour Bridge in Sydney, Australia. they have a thing where you can literally walk on top of it to the top of the bridge, which is crazy.
Wait, so you have to...
You're, like, harnessed onto the bridge, and there's, like, a walkway, like, on the actual bridge to, like...
That's crazy.
So that was cool. Those are probably, like, the most extreme things, I think. I also am a certified scuba diver, so I've gone scuba diving.
Are you?
Yeah. But I don't go, like, often. But I've been a few times.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm saying that because I personally cannot swim.
Yeah.
I've been to Mexico with my family and my girlfriend, and we ended up scuba diving, but I had, like, a life vest on, and I was, like, harnessed onto, like, a little buoy for the entire time, just, like, hanging on to dear life, just making sure I could, like, see the fish, too.
Yeah.
It was fun. To me, that was probably the most extreme thing that I've done. At least one of them.
Yeah.
So, Sophie, you have an EP out right now.
Yes.
You have really dope music videos right now, too.
Thank
because
you.
I forgot what the song was, but it was kind of like in a smaller screen. I remember there was like a McDonald's in the background.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, it's crazy because your generation just knows how to be extremely artsy with these music videos.
My thing is like, my music videos, I personally struggle with like having a creative vision for like photos or videos. Like, I'm trying to like think about it more as an artist, because I think like I have a very like distinct vision for how I want my music to sound, but I don't know like what the visuals should look like or tie to. So I'm really lucky to work with like an amazing videographer on those 3 videos that just came out. His name is Benny Gagliardi, and I think he's like 21 or 22. And I did 3 videos recently. We did them all in like one day. And they were I just released an acoustic version of my EP. So they were like the acoustic videos. So I didn't want them to be like full out like music videos. So they're all like, you know, one scene basically. Yeah. And they just like switch around, but it's like one location.
Well, yeah, you got to make the acoustic songs a lot more chill.
Yeah, I was trying to make it more chill. So we did like one in the like open space where Kanye West was doing his Sunday service. We went up there.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, so the first one that came out is for Two Young Lovers acoustic, and it's like on the like in the area where he does it, because we went on like a weekday and there was no one there.
That's tight.
And it's an open space. I don't actually know if we were allowed to be there, but like
Wasn't
one stopped us.
it in Burbank Studios?
No, I think he was doing it in different. I think he switched locations now that it's summer. It's like really hot out.
Gotcha.
But it's near where I live, up in like the. I don't know if I should talk about it. But like
it's
they
all good.
geotag it and stuff. It's like in the Santa Monica Mountains. So we went up there and filmed it on his like stage setup, because it's like it was so beautiful. It's like these mountains in the background, and he just has like this little circle of like stairs. I don't know if it's still there. It was. We filmed it like a couple months ago. So we were just filming on there, and it was really cool. And then the second one with the McDonald's was the best friend video, and that was cool too. Then we did Fool on the beach, and there was like no one there. It was crazy. We got really lucky. We did like right at sunset, and there were like no people around somehow. In Malibu.
That's the best time to go to the beach.
Yeah, but I was like, how is there no people here? We're in Malibu in like the summertime, but whatever. So yeah, those are the videos that just came out. They're all out now. The acoustic EP just came out, I think, like on Friday, like all the songs.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's tight. I mean, me personally, I really like the direction of your music videos, because your songs are very simple. And I say that in the best way possible, because I'm able to just like follow along with your storytelling. And, you know, again, it evokes a particular emotion out of me, which I don't get from many songs nowadays. Shout out to hip hop, because everybody's just so angry in hip hop. So a whole bunch of music videos out right now. You have your EP too. Do you have an album that you're planning to release soon?
I don't know. I feel like I might continue to do EPs, because I really like releasing things single by single, so that each song has a chance to like be heard. I feel like even for me as a listener, when someone like drops an album, I don't know if I'll go through like the whole album unless I'm like a really good like diehard fan for that artist. I mostly just listen to the singles. So that's why I like the EP, because it's, even though it's like not that many less songs than an album would be, I feel like people are more likely to listen through the whole thing.
Well, people are more inclined to listen to 3 songs as opposed to like 10 or 15 nowadays.
So I think I might continue doing EPs, or at least just like one more before I do like a full-length album, just because I don't know, I think it's like easier to digest as a listener, and I can probably get it out sooner than I would be able to get out like an entire album, you know?
Yeah.
So
it also gives you a lot more time, because I mean, I work with artists from 17 years old to like 30 years old, and I think the advantage that I'll consider you Generation Z, right?
I think so.
Right.
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
the
I
advantage
guess.
that I know that you guys have is the fact that y'all are still young, so you guys have time to release a numerous amount of EPs. You guys still have a lot of time to release your debut album because at the end of the day, even Chance the Rapper hasn't dropped his first album, and he's like 26.
Really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Has he been doing EPs?
They're all mixtapes.
Oh, I see. That's cool. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hoping to get like my next EP out of like brand new music by like the end of the year. I'm still like writing the songs. I think I have one that's like my favorite. I haven't written the rest, so maybe it won't be my favorite by the time I write the rest. But I think it's gonna be like the first single, so hopefully that'll come out in the next like month or two, and then I'll have the rest of them out in like fall, winter.
Tight.
So yeah.
So when I was reading your bio on your website, which not a lot of people have, one thing that really spoke to me was a lot of the nonprofits that you were doing your music for, the cancer, autism, and all that. Like, why was all that important to you?
Well, I think it started with my mom. She's always been like a really big activist, and she's always instilled in me to give back to people. So the Act Today, Autism Care and Treatment, that has always been a part of my career, that organization, because my first live performance ever in front of people when I was 10 years old was at an Act Today, a charity event in my area. And I thought it was amazing that they gave me a chance to perform when like I'd never performed before. And I was really happy that I could do my first live performance for an organization that meant so much to me. So from the beginning of my career, I was always involved in charity work, and I love, doing as much as I can. And to me, I feel like it's so amazing that I can help people with just like music, like just doing what I do can help people. That's amazing to me. And, I wrote a song called Firefly that's now the theme song for Firefly Autism. Before Act Today was using it, and just having it out on the internet, on YouTube, I think it's still up on YouTube, and people like reacting to it on YouTube saying like it helped their kids with autism or like whatever.
Wow.
That's like, that means so much to me. And like, I'm really involved with Girls Rock Santa Barbara, and I was just up in Ojai at their sleepaway camp performing for the girls at the camp, and just like, it's so cool that me just thinking that I like can perform for these girls and inspire them to like, do what I do, or just like write, or even just like inspire them to start producing, or whatever I can do to help is incredible to me, because I'm just like doing, what I love. So if that can help people, of course, I'd love to.
And I think it's a lot more effective coming from you because you're a lot closer in age range to them. So, let's say you go to this Girls Rock SB, right? And there's like people who are like 14, 15 years old. They look at you who are only who's only a couple years older than them. They're like, wow, like I could be doing that too.
Yeah, and that's like the coolest thing ever. And I hear the music that these young girls are making, and it's amazing. And just knowing that I'm like could be a part of that, even just like being around them makes me so happy, because it reminds me of like why I started doing this. Like seeing how excited they get by music is like very refreshing, especially like being in LA, being in the music industry is like so depressing sometimes, just like how the constant rejection, just like everyone's depressed. So it's like going and like being around like young girls who are like just starting out is like so fun, because you just remember like why you started doing it,
Yeah.
So
Well, shout out to you, Sophie. I think you're going to be just fine between, again, your beautiful voice, the music that you're putting out, and the fact that I actually feel like you care about the people in the organizations that you've been like doing your work for, because it's one thing just to make music, but it's another thing to make music and want to give back to the community and inspire hope and inspire a future that these kids can potentially have later on.
And I think music in general, like for me at least, like music has helped me get through so much. you know, just as a person. I think that's why everybody loves music, is because it helps them through tough situations, or is there through their happy memories or whatever. So I feel like music goes hand in hand with like helping people. So, you know, I've always wanted to help people with my music, even if it's just because I write a sad song that someone relates to. Like, if that helps you feel better, that's great. So, yeah, as, you know, I love doing whatever I can do to help
Music
people.
is therapy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's great.
Sophie Rose, everybody. Sophie, where can everybody find you?
My website is sophierose.com, and all my social media is Sophie Rose Music. So you can find me there.
Dope. By the way, don't confuse her with the YouTuber Sophie Rose.
Yeah, no. Completely different. If you Google me, Google Sophie Rose Music, and then I'll come up first.
Gotcha. This is The Lunch Table, Food for Thought. I'm Nico Blitz, Sophie Rose, and we are out, everybody. Yay!